Back in Ukraine, insane in the brain. Gotta catch the train. Back to the Ukraine. Back to the Ukraine. Bitches all in my brain. Gonna catch a fucking train. Back to the Ukraine.
Gotta fight to stop the pain. It's a pain train coming for the rain. When it rains, all hailstorm, putting on the train with the shame on the name. Put it on your grain. Yeah.
Back to the Ukraine.
Hellfire,
Bitches all
missing
in my
rain.
brain.
Yeah. Stocking with the Molotovs and the shit with the shooting Putin to the defense of the crane. Brain drain, Putin on the stain with the sin of shame, with the slain, with the sick in the shame. I'ma put you in this rain and I see you in the brain.
NATO soldiers being slain.
Biden tried to shift the blame.
Don't girl, don't refrain.
Yo.
Gonna catch the hate train. Back to the Ukraine. Bitches all in my brain. Gunners on Lois Lane.
Like a boss, Putin in the sauce.
Putin, stay in your lane.
Trying to be the boss, but he don't got all the sauce.
Lost in your membrane.
Yeah.
Taking over Ukraine.
Catch me out in Kyiv. Yeah.
Kyiv, I'm the ghost with the most.
Staying in the Ukraine, we ain't never gonna leave.
Go to hell. Goddamn globalists! The globalists are trying to take us back into World War III with the energy crisis.
KGB, more like LGBTQ.
Trump, stump, the dumpy on Alexandria.
Yo.
Wanna eat it.
Yo.
Gotta beat it.
Yo.
Gotta fuck it.
Yo.
Plant my seed in it.
Yo. That's pretty, that was good.
Hey, you know Nancy Pelosi got some pillows, you know?
She got some saggy titties?
Yeah, she got some saggy fucking titties, bro.
I mean, I'm sure they're saggy. I seen her. She was looking pretty cute when she was young, actually.
Yeah, I would bang her.
When she first got into office. Look,
you know who never had like that cute old era? Hillary Clinton. She always just looked like a fucking cunt.
It is weird. And Chelsea kind of got the worst of both ends
worlds.
There. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of got the weird roundness of Hillary, but like none of the... Because Bill's a pretty good looking dude.
He's good looking dude.
Right. And then she sort of got the masculine into that. I don't know. Chelsea just didn't...
Isn't it weird? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter kind of looks like just like him. And I think Chris Pratt's like probably a closeted homosexual, and that's probably what... I'm just kidding.
Well, he just loves...
just gotta hop on the hate train for Chris Pratt, dude.
He loves
Fuck
pumping
him.
iron, dude. He just loved pumping iron when he was a kid.
Look, man.
And,
Arnold, I love you, dude. I just want to bang your daughter.
Look, I just want to be an operator on Amazon Prime.
How does he talk? Like a white guy? I feel like if I just do my normal voice, it's pretty close.
Yeah. He's like, look, this is the best. I'm not even doing it right. He doesn't have a distinctive voice.
You know the part that pisses me off the most about that guy?
Oh, it's the Lego movie guy. That's his voice.
Oh, Emmett Till?
Everything is awesome, guys. Why don't we take this Lego and build a church?
I think you're getting ahead of yourself. I think you have a few things you need to address before we move on.
Look, it's been a hot minute since our last episode. It's October 1st.
Well, why has it been such a long minute? Was there something about the last episode that was...
Well, it was probably the worst episode that we've ever recorded, because right afterwards I found out I was playing with the soundboard and I pushed this button that said like guitar,
right, and
the hissing went away. And so we've had hissing on every episode up until now, but this will be the first episode with no hiss whatsoever.
100% hiss-free. Hiss-free.
And
I feel free.
You're peaking. We're super hot. Can you not hear that distorting in your headphones?
I guess not, but
the sensitivity is hot. The sensitivity is hot.
So I should back away then.
Well, we're good now because I don't have to turn it up as much.
Right.
Or I can turn it up more because we don't have the hiss. Where before I was like, oh, I don't want to record too hot because the hissing gets louder.
There's a lot going on here. We have a lot of environmental disasters: Hurricane Ian, She-Hulk, Ukraine.
Those our gas-powered cars are finally biting us in the ass. even though there's not actually more hurricanes now than there was like 100 years ago, but nobody cares about that. It's fun to say that we're being punished for our cars.
Okay, look, that's misinformation. That's not true. Are you talking about AOC?
Well, it's just a sentiment. Anytime there's a natural disaster, they'll be like, "This is climate change. This is the Earth clapping back."
Even though that's not how you measure climate change.
Even though
you never measure it by one instance of any sort of natural disaster. That's actually against science.
But
100%. It's supposed to be the study of weather over a period of time, not over just one incident in a week time frame. You know what I mean?
But Vince, that doesn't feel as good as saying that people are dying because they've been sinned. As Sodom and Gomorrah, Florida, Ron DeSantis has sinned against the earth.
Right.
Okay, for his Trump-supporting ways and his migrant deporting ways. And he's being punished now.
That was the most base thing I've ever seen. I'm going to vote for him. DeSantis all the way. That was the biggest troll I'd ever seen. And those fucking white liberals were crying so hard.
And it worked. I mean, people had to report that, like, oh yeah, actually what Ron DeSantis did, that's just what the Border Patrol and ICE has been doing. They just send these migrants, once they get their claims processed at the border with the judge, they just send them into random towns along the border.
Right.
There was like there's even been small town mayors that are like, can we get some aid or some shit? Because we're running out of room over here and shit.
Yeah, our town of 800,000 is being overrun by 100,000 on a monthly basis.
Yeah, like 1,000 people a day, several thousand people a day being bussed into these small towns, and it's just like, what do they expect to happen? And so Ron DeSantis does the same thing.
What did he send, 25, 30, 50?
It was 50, I think, yeah.
He sends 50.
On a bus to
one of the most affluent, richest fucking cities in the fucking world.
It's where like old rich people go on vacation
to
retire,
eat caviar and fuck children, fucking perverts.
Yeah, to hang out on the beach and wait for Epstein's boat to pull up. But they do all this and then somehow it worked. Like they weren't able to spin. They tried to spin it negative, but you have to.
Do you ever notice that
when
whenever you point the mirror at them, they call it some sort of affront to their ideology, or they see it as an existential threat to quote unquote their democracy, and I love it so much.
This is an existential threat, Vince. Let me tell you why Ron DeSantis is racist.
I see. It's an existential threat to their democracy, but I'm at this point where I don't even care about democracy. I don't.
Oh, Vince, this is now we're on the highway to the danger zone.
Oh, sorry.
We have to maintain the sham.
Let's get off.
We can't have everybody like you being disillusioned with the system. Otherwise, then the system will actually fully stop working if nobody believes in it.
I think there was this funny tweet I saw this morning, and I'm trying to recall what it was, and it made me laugh. It made me fucking raffle. It made me laugh my ass off. It made me raffle falafel. It made me LOL.
What was it?
Man, I think it was George Takei. Stupid fucking idiot. He was like, I think it was like, look, we all need to understand that people go through cognitive decline, but I still feel like Trump is fair game. And I'm like, sure, me too. I agree.
Oh yeah, if you're running for office or whatever.
Right. You're worthy of being criticized and mocked and laughed at. I love laughing at people. I like making people feel stupid about themselves. Mm-hmm. And then, like a week ago. So that, mind you, that tweet was like from during Trump's presidency. And then he's like, look, guys, I know a lot. It's hard for a lot of young people to understand, but people really do go through cognitive decline. So we need to give Joe Biden a break. I'm like, dude, the man is fucking brain dead. The man is fucking brain dead. And he has his finger over the nuclear button, dude. Well, not really.
That's what I was going to say.
Not really,
like,
but
if you've... Like, you can't... That argument doesn't work. Like, give him a break. He's 80 years old. That doesn't work when you're the fucking president. Like...
It doesn't work, period.
I'm sorry,
No, it doesn't work, period. Like, if you have an 80-year-old person who is suffering from dementia, you don't excuse their destructive behavior because they're, fucking brain dead for all we know.
Oh yeah, even if they're trying to, if your 80-year-old dementia-ridden grandfather,
you don't let them go outside. Yeah, you don't let them.
You don't give them the keys and let them go drive because But so yeah, I see what you're saying there, but I think Biden's out. I don't think he's gonna run again, or he may.
I hope he does. I hope he does.
But I mean, they're looking at Pete Buttigieg.
What does he do?
He's the
besides nothing and go on vacation
Secretary of Transportation.
He doesn't do shit.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a real job. I mean, he was gone for like 2 months and nobody even noticed.
Who else they got? Kamala? She doesn't do shit.
Our
border is in crisis.
Every day they get closer to realizing that. Well, I feel like they're past realizing that she's not viable.
What about Newsom? Oh, he did something kind of based.
Newsom's coming up.
He did something kind of based. He made it illegal to use rap lyrics on trial as evidence.
Oh, okay.
But
like artistic expression.
What if you straight up admit to a crime?
Well, I'm sure people have admitted to crimes.
They've admitted to murders. No, that's how they got some of these people. They've admitted to like murdering people in their lyrics. But I'm also at the same time, I'm like,
that shouldn't be evidence that shouldn't be like the only thing that you got to be able to corroborate that.
Oh, and Beto, another base thing. He wants to legalize marijuana in Texas. Does he have your vote, dude?
He's got it now, dude.
Okay, but also no assault weapons, and you have to wait 6 months to get a pistol permit. No more concealed license. You now need a license to carry again.
Well, here's the thing I don't even think a governor could institute that kind of shit. I mean, they could maybe possibly get it passed.
Dude, mayors can do it.
Right, they can get it passed, but when it comes to enforcement, it's kind of like, well, how far are you willing to go to make that law?
They will do... Dude, if that becomes law, the police will not hesitate to criminalize you for owning a weapon.
God, I wish somebody...
Dude, they fucking locked up they tried to fucking arrest a kid during COVID in New York because he wasn't wearing a mask or had a vax card. Police are fucking... They're basically just the gang for the government.
And see, you'd hope that kind of shit wouldn't happen in Texas.
And that's why I want to keep the guns, dude.
Well, but that's the thing. See, I'm thinking like Texans will just keep them no matter what. They're not going to...
Oh, right.
They're not going to hand them over to some gun buyback system or whatever.
No.
That and then if that happened, like a lot of Texans would be even more. Do you
think Beto O'Rourke has any viability in Texas?
No. I mean, he got blown out the last time that he ran. Just absolutely blown out.
And Abbott's a piece of shit too. But I mean,
I wish somebody would slip him an edible or something, and then
make him become super based.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
We need to get a real Texas. We need to get a real freedom-loving.
I pointed out those two things from democratically elected governors just to prove that I'm not one-sided in these instances. I think those are both really cool stances to have, but I think they're both pieces of shit still.
Right. We're totally fair and balanced on this show.
I bet you didn't even know that. I bet you didn't even know that.
About what?
The Newsom thing and the Beto thing. The pod and the rap lyrics as evidence in a court of law.
No, I hadn't heard about either of those things. I knew Newsom he's trying to get sauced up for 2024.
He needs to
he's trying to get some juice going.
He needs to stop being a pussy and start being hard on crime.
Well, that could be huge.
No, but Houston mayors as well. They're terrible.
They want to be like coastal mayors,
I mean, have I personally benefited from these soft on crime judges? Yes.
Yeah. They have softened up on drugs too. So that's, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like people are smoking on the streets in downtown.
It's funny because I feel like I'm more affluent with the current state of law than the judge I talked to a month ago.
Probably.
No, because I talked to her because I got pulled over for my registration sticker.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, hey, you know what? I got all the things straightened out, but the thing is, I can't register my vehicle after receiving a citation for the expired sticker. She's like, oh, really? I was like, yeah, it looks like I have to talk to a tax assessment office and get that straightened out. They're like, oh, yeah, I heard about that. I was like,
That's fucking insane.
She's like, but did you try? I was like, well, I would have to lie on a government form saying that I hadn't received a citation. She's like, oh, well, you should never lie, so I guess you should just get that straightened out. I was like, so should I talk to a tax assessment office? She was like, yeah, you probably should. And I was like, this person doesn't know a fucking thing about anything.
The law, a judge.
She doesn't know anything.
The law is her job.
This is all you do all day.
Our democracy is a sham, dude.
But she was hot, and she was a nice little Hispanic judge. She was probably like 27. She was probably my age.
Hell yeah. Really?
Yeah, and I gave her...
You could lay down the law in my room.
It's not like Better Call Saul where you have like all these people who are so motivated by the law. No, not really. It's just another job to them.
I realize now that is how unrealistic that is for like your small town city to have these. Maybe you could have like old people that are serious about it, but like most likely you just have old people that are just, it's just their 9-to-5 job.
Right.
You know? And it's like they're not fucking reading legal cases at night for fun.
I do sometimes.
I mean, you know, judges should be like keeping up with like new laws, the new bylaws coming out and shit.
Or new court cases
laws,
that happen in their state.
New codes. Yeah. How other judges have ruled on important cases recently and shit like that.
Yeah. I see, this is the
They're
problem.
Not doing any
This
of that
is the
shit.
problem with everybody I know. They have this, there's like this fallacy that people who maintain an institution are automatically your betters, but I've never found that to be the case. Ever.
But that's the American sort of mindset that there is a hierarchy and the ones on top are the most competent. And so if you're sitting in some place of authority, that's some crest of some hierarchy, and
that's proof in and of itself.
You should be, yeah.
That's the proof is in the pudding.
The fact that you're sitting in that seat means that your competence is greater than your others than other.
Dude,
peers.
I feel like okay, let's just get off of this, man, because I'm gonna start getting angry, and I'm kind of the edible is starting to kick in. So,
well, do you have any other political shit that you want to talk about?
We could talk about that. We could talk about that. What have you heard? So, where are you on this? Where are you on this?
Did we send another 40 billy over there?
We sent another 40 bill, as far as I know.
Because I know we sent 2 packages. I think they were both 40 billion or something like that.
The Nord Stream
the
pipeline
pipeline got
sabotaged. No one knows who.
Probably Russia, right?
No.
Who else would do it? Because nobody in Europe would benefit from that.
The U.S.?
How? We got to send our natural gas over there?
I don't know. I mean, Biden said he wanted to take out Nord Stream if Russia were to invade Ukraine. Like, pretty recently.
Because remember when the original sanctions that Europe put out, they made a carve-out for energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because the winter was going to come sooner or later, and they need fucking heat.
Right.
In northern Germany.
One's serious. No one's really serious about this.
Well, I mean, they were
not really.
They were they're being pragmatic about. They're like, all right, we're going to cut off as much money as we can that's going into Russia, without having our own citizens freeze.
Yeah, without having our own economic collapse.
Like retired German citizens.
This is what you get. This is what you get with globalism. This is what you get.
This is the interconnected, like, war will fuck everybody now, because you can't giving you a black eye, you know, stabs me in the foot, you know.
Right.
It's like, because we're all tangled up.
God, I think what was his name? Was it the Monroe Doctrine?
Was that the one where that was like for the Western Hemisphere, though? I mean, for like North and South America, right?
Right, basically, don't fuck with other countries. Well,
no, they were saying like, hey, all you other continents, don't fuck with these people. Nobody fucks with North and South America is ours, basically.
Oh, really? I thought it was just about a general sense of neutrality when it comes to foreign conflict. Or I could be wrong about that.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of, there might be this other one where this guy was like, all these Latin countries and shit, like,
they're in our sphere of influence.
You're done colonizing, okay? These are going to be under our influence and nobody else's, and we don't want, you know, France or whoever to come in and install their own leaders.
What do you think about this narrative that to state any sort of criticism toward Western aligned alliances becomes a Putin-Russian talking point?
That's crap. Everybody knows that's crap.
That's a crock of shit.
That's bullshit. Everybody knows it.
Is it a crock of shit?
Everybody knows. Yes, this is 9/11 all over again. Where like if you didn't want to go do a 9/11 a day in Iraq, then you were fucking for terrorism. You're pro-terrorism. If you don't think we should go in there and kill,
isn't it funny that
10,000
most
Iraqis
democratically aligned liberals are pro-war?
Well, the Republican Party pushed them into that spot. Like there was a time when they weren't, but
I don't think so.
As like Clinton, like by the time Clinton got elected,
right?
For a Democrat to win, you had to be basically a Republican on like taxes, on foreign policy. Yeah, you had to be you had to be. I don't want to say a Republican because that's but you know you had to be pro-intervention,
economically Republican, economically remotely conservative,
pro-free trade. Yeah, economically and in terms of foreign policy, you had to be for regime change. You had to be for low taxes, pro-big business, basically.
Yeah,
and that's how Clinton won by being
Republican light,
super moderate Democrat. Yeah. And basically governed how a Republican would have. That's why Clinton was kind of, you know, Reagan's.
He's like
the
the
true
90s
Reagan predecessor.
Right.
You know, he basically did probably what Reagan would have had to have done eventually.
In the 90s?
Like lower the deficit and shit. But Clinton bombed hospitals as well, you know, in like Northern Africa or some shit.
Didn't Reagan have like a hard? Companies. Didn't he have a big fucking flop? A hostage situation that he fucking fucked up royally on.
And at the time, we didn't know it, but the Canadians actually went in and fixed that.
Damn,
Argo?
dude.
Ben Affleck?
Is that what that's about?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. I need to watch that. That sounds interesting.
It was a Canadian intelligence operation that got that snuck the hostages out where they're posing as actors and crew members of a movie set that was filming in whatever country, wherever they were.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty sick. So it's sort of like a heist movie.
That's pretty cool.
We're like, oh, we've got to.
I heard he won the Oscar for that, or nominated at least.
He won Best Director for it in 2013, I believe, because the movie came out in 2012.
Are Ben and Casey Affleck just perfect?
No, they're alcoholics.
No, I'm talking about in the movie business. They're that's still they're perfect for Hollywood.
They're great at making movies. They're great at making movies. Yeah, I mean, Good Will Hunting. Like when Ben Affleck is like sober and focused, like he can make great movies.
I want to see that movie Manchester by the Sea with Casey Affleck. I heard it's a pretty good movie.
I heard it's kind of a snoozer. But dude, what about the Ukraine? Like,
right.
Shouldn't we just force them to negotiate and end the fight?
Dude, Boris Johnson told them not to negotiate. He said, don't. Because as soon as the conflict happened, they were saying, Russia was like basically saying like, all right, dude, we'll pull out our troops. We'll basically come to a standstill if we want to have a referendum in Ukraine. We'll handle this politically and diplomatically. And then Boris is like, nah, dude, don't fucking do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be legitimate, I don't think. I mean... But maybe
it's better than war.
That's true. I don't know, but see, war is like very real.
But
to people.
Apparently, there was a lot of pro-Russian sentiment in Ukraine.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean,
I know there's a lot of hate and disdain for Russia too. I don't know, man. It's like
it is split, and then you've got Russians. You got Russian citizens that are for the war, and you've got Russian citizens that are against it. So it's split on both sides, you know.
It's fucked.
But there's parts of Ukraine that are culturally and ethnically more Russian.
But would this have even have happened if we had just kept our influence outside of Ukraine? If we had just not expanded NATO, not taken over and put a Western aligned asset into Ukraine, could this all have been avoided?
There's a good argument.
Or does he take it anyway? I don't know.
There's a good argument to be made that, like, if we had tried to work Russia in, bring them into the fold, rather than maneuver around them, like with the way that we did in the what was it, the color revolutions, I think, where there was, starting in like 2011 to 2014, there was a bunch of those little satellite countries that are right near the border of Russia that had big
like
regime changes.
They took Crimea.
Like Bosnia. Like all these, so
like
a couple
Lithuania?
There was like 2 or 3 of those little countries, yeah, where there was like these revolutions,
Right.
and they kind of overthrew their leader or ran out their leaders and brought in new ones, and Putin saw that as Western-backed coup change, like leadership installments. Like the West is installing pro-Western leaders.
Because I keep hearing the sentiment, like, okay, well, what if Putin was to install some sort of regime change in Mexico or Canada?
That's exactly
how would the U.S.
what it's
react?
Like. That's exactly what it's like. Like if we found out that Russia was funding some Guatemalan revolutionaries that want to take over, you know what I mean?
Well, did you hear about these Chinese little police satellites in the U.S.? That
police.
Mm-hmm. So they basically target Chinese nationals and extradite them to China so they can face the punishment of, they say they're trying to monitor fraud.
Wait, so the Chinese government is taking back citizens that are in the U.S.?
Yes.
Are they just recalling their spies?
Could be. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. But
like if they think they're compromised, they yank them out of the U.S. before they can get caught.
I don't know. Or they could be spreading quote unquote Chinese misinformation. Criticizing the Chinese regime. The Chinese regime.
Oh. But how do but they have the jurisdiction to like...
They don't.
Oh, they don't, but they're doing it illegally?
Could be.
In the U.S.?
Potentially.
Oh, this isn't confirmed. Yeah, because this sounds crazy.
No. The Chinese police is confirmed. We have people banging Chinese spies. Is it that much of a stretch?
Well, it sounds crazy. Like, so I'm a little confused. Like, are you saying that there's like officials from the Chinese government that come to the U.S. to extract Chinese nationals and bring them back?
Yes.
Essentially, like deport them.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
But I guess if they are Chinese citizens, maybe China does have the right to do that, or the U.S. does allow them to like find their criminals.
I guess technically, but here's the thing. But if their crime is spreading quote unquote Chinese misinformation, aren't they protected by First Amendment laws in the U.S.? Even if you're not a citizen, you still have this.
I don't know about that.
Really?
I don't know how that works if you're not a citizen.
So if you make a video in America criticizing a foreign government, are you not protected? I don't know. This is a genuine question.
No, yeah. If you or me did it, and we say, oh, the head of the CCP is a fucking Winnie the Pooh, like, yeah,
protected.
Technically the government should protect me and you from any actual actions taken by the Chinese government.
Right, extra legal.
Right, but it's like if you're a Mexican citizen and you come into the U.S. illegally, then we have the right to kick you out. You know what I mean?
Right.
The U.S. doesn't have the right to kick out an American citizen for no reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you can't deport a U.S. citizen, but you can deport a Mexican citizen.
Right.
So I don't know. So that's why that sounds like insane to me, but
it's nuts, dude.
But it's possible.
Do you think we're living in a propaganda machine?
Yes, I mean, I think the more I look into it, I feel like it's just always been this way, where the most powerful countries attempt to rule as much as they can, but just the methods have changed. Like post World War II, it was just like, all right, democracy's the best way. Everyone's got to be a democracy, but also we're gonna do regime changes in other countries to make sure that those leaders will do what the West wants or the U.S. wants, right?
Oh, that's out the window now too, though. We don't even care for a democracy at this point.
Right. Well, and we've always had alliances with Saudi Arabia and China, and
Well, that's relatively new. That's like an '80s thing.
Yeah.
Or late '70s, early '80s thing. But
yes, it's nothing. It's just methods change, but the underlying mad dash for power does not change.
Oh, so we're more sophisticated in our power grabs now.
Well, we had gotten I feel like that sort of breaking down as countries like aren't able to maintain their control over the satellites. You know what I mean? you kind of retreat inwards, and that kind of Trump was that reaction where it's like, oh, let's pull back and let's look inward and try and fix our own shit, you know?
Right.
Which sometimes can take a, you know, if there's no enemies abroad, sometimes you've got to find enemies at home. And you sort of turn that tribal instinct inward.
Dude, I remember I learned that from a very, very important man.
Hideo
Kojima, dude.
Which game?
Metal Gear Solid 5, dude. Skullface tells, I think it was the big boss. He says, rob him. Oh, no, I think it might have been Ocelot. Never mind. Someone said it. They're like, rob a man of his enemy, and he turns his aggressions inward like a virus.
Yes. Yes.
And that game is all about speech and language and how you can basically... You rob a man of his life not by taking his life, but by taking his tongue. And I was like, whoa, he predicted it again. See,
that seems almost kind of pro-nationalist, where it's like, oh, we need to maintain our national culture.
Kind of, because they talk about linguistic imperialism, and there's this character named Code Talker who was basically... It's inferred that he was a Native American code breaker for the Allies, and they would code all their messages in ancient Navajo language.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's where he got his name from. His name's Code Talker. They called him code breakers. I think they were called Code Talkers too.
Yeah, they would even have codes within the language.
Right.
Where it's like eggs means troops, and you know they're talking about breakfast, but really they're talking about how many troops are coming in. Where
it's like a cipher in a cipher.
Yeah,
it's pretty sick.
Because eventually the Nazis did learn Navajo. They did learn to speak it.
But even then they couldn't.
But even then, you still got to break another code once you learn the language. So that was pretty sick.
Wienerhosen?
You could probably make a movie just about that.
I think they did. Or if not, we'll make it. It'll be pretty sick.
Dude, I feel like somebody, maybe it'll be us, but somebody can take like kind of the Kojima ethos and aesthetic and kind of remix it into a more streamlined mainstream package for like a movie where it's like kind of the same sentiment, right. And it's kind of like you're having these revelations about the real movers and the hidden movers and shakers that are actually making the decisions. You know what I mean?
You kind of have to do like a post movie. You got to make like a Birdman.
Right,
like
it's got to be
postmodern movie.
It's got to
like
be
an anti-movie,
dreamlike. That's why he has those mythical creatures in there, because it's so. It's almost too complicated to say directly. You've got to.
He calls it hyper real, and I always thought that was really interesting. You call it hyper real,
yes,
because none of this is real. But I'm like, oh, but it's the most real thing.
It's like dream logic,
right? But
when you're dreaming, you're not thinking about that it's a dream. You're totally in the moment.
Right.
But wacky things can be happening. You know, a griffin can fly through your roof and take you away.
Dude, but some of the shit, man, dude, the fucking killer whale on fire eating a helicopter. I was like, man, dude, this man is like a visionary. And not because of that, but
it can fly. It's like flying through the air.
No, yeah, it's just like little kid in a straitjacket with a gas mask on, floating, controlling this giant fucking killer whale eating. I mean, it's important to the thematic. I mean, they call him Ahab in the beginning, and there is kind of the quest for revenge kind of storyline throughout the game.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, it is pretty sick.
It's like he's searching for this whale, but he can't find the people that are really...
Right. And even when he gets it, it's not... Yeah, it's... he's fighting an idea. He's fighting a mind virus, basically. When you break it down to its most basic essentials, that's what it is. He's fighting...
Is it code for, like... Oh, this is, like, human weakness that will... Human weakness will just infect any kind of structure...
In a sense, yeah.
Evil will seep in, like you can't destroy it.
Well, even like after the post-human world, they're like, oh yeah, we've created this AI designed to control the flow of information, but even that becomes corrupted and brings the world into like a never-ending cycle of war. Oh my God, that's the world, dude.
He predicted it, dude. He knew.
He fucking knew.
And see, the fact that people could know makes me think that it's only methods that change. It's the same kind of
the same story.
The same stories have been playing out where it's like
it's the human story.
It's people trying to control trying to get at whatever power they can and use that to control things. You know what I mean?
And influence people and control.
And, yeah, exert their influence over as many people as they can. It's that same story. It's like ideas
just
rolling through history.
It's like almost like, and this is Metal Gear Solid 2 right here. Ideas are almost like exist in this plane of natural selection, and some ideas want to kill another one. You know what I mean?
The meme wars.
That's exactly what it is. It's a meme war.
Mimetic warfare.
It is a mimetic warfare, and we're just now seeing it at its fucking precipice. We're going to see how this turns out, this experiment.
Well, it's never been so concentrated since the internet. You know what I mean? Where it's like...
Right. It's like the evolution of information.
It's no longer
I'm not even
a
metaphorical
meme war.
It's a literal meme war. It's kind of like it's kind of like ideas take on a mind of their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like postmodernism or like that kind of shit.
Yeah, dude, it's
deconstruction.
See,
I guess it could be any idea.
But I want postmodernism to continue existing. I don't want it to go away because it gives you sometimes, every once in a while, it gives you something beautiful to look at. No,
yeah, the irony is it was created by modernism.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't get postmodernism without modernism. So they're interlinked.
Right. Like, I don't want religion to die, but I also don't want anti-religious sentiment to take over either. You know what I mean? I want these both to coexist, but I don't know if they have to.
They do have to. But you need the, like...
Does this make sense?
Yeah, no, you need to, like, that, like, every generation needs to, like, deconstruct the old myths and then so that they can rebuild them anew for the time that they live in, you know? And I feel like that maybe is just a natural process that happens every generation.
Dude, the Times, they're the biggest enemy.
The New York Times?
No, the Times.
The times that we live in?
No, the Times. It's a force. The Times. No, because they did Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker.
Is it really?
Snake's like, we're going to be fighting the biggest threat yet. And he's like, who? The Russians? Cuba? He's like, no, the Times. One day we'll be revolutionaries, leaders of the free world, and then we'll be terrorists. I'm like, oh, man. Is time the biggest enemy of man? No, because it doesn't really exist.
Well, he's talking about, like, perspective. He's saying, like, people's perspectives will change over time, right?
Basically, yeah.
Like, history will see you differently.
Right.
Different generations will look back on you differently.
Right.
That's why the whole right side of history thing is such a joke.
It's a joke, right?
You have no idea what...
There is no right side of history.
Yeah.
There's the winner.
It's whatever you say, yeah. And then even like I don't know.
If you were to teach a history course,
mm-hmm.
what would your main take? What would you want your students to take away from your history course?
Oh, that the people, that all these people, all these historical figures, no matter when, 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago, they were just like you. They were exactly like you. Where you change your mind, you go through, you get hangry. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. They were exactly you. And so you can still judge them, but just know that you're judging yourself. You know what I mean?
Dude, I remember there was this guy who said, I understand Hitler, and everybody flamed him for that. I'm like, but deep down, don't you want to? Isn't this what this is all about? Isn't this why we make thousands of documentaries about the man? Isn't this why there's like millions of books written about him?
Yeah.
That history still teaches about him? Don't you want to understand Hitler?
Yeah, you want to see the road. You want to find that path that led Hitler to becoming Hitler, and going down that. If you go down that road yourself, then obviously you're going to have a similar understanding. Does that make sense?
But is that pro Hitler sentiment though?
No, you could still you can understand somebody.
Like, why do we make movies about serial killers and documentaries about people who, you know?
Well, you could say that you want the cathartic.
No, but like the Dahmer movie, you know what I mean? Like the movie about Jeffrey fucking Dahmer, that was listed in LGBTQ and under Netflix.
Oh shit!
Because he killed a lot of gay people.
Yeah, he was gay. I think he raped dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is.
I thought they wanted representation.
Yeah, there's gay killers too, and straight killers. But I mean, the modern serial killer true crime trend, that probably has a lot of reasons behind it. But yeah, I think for a lot of people it is like, oh, you want to try and figure out why they did this, which is, trying to gain a greater understanding of somebody. But yeah, that doesn't mean that you agree with anything about them. Trying to understand them, you know what I mean?
Right.
But Hitler is like a stand-in for evil, so it's like saying, I understand evil, which is like saying, sounds like you're saying,
that I agree
with evil or something.
But you can be a Satanist and that's okay.
Yeah, I don't get Satanists. It's like, well, you have to believe in God too then, right? So, but I guess they think God is the evil one.
So there's different branches of Satanism. From my understanding, there's like the Leviathan Satanist who is like your quote-unquote devil worshiper.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like the basically secular Satanist who is basically like a modern Sith, where it's like I recognize my passion. I recognize that everybody has a little hint of evil in them.
Mm-hmm.
And but I give
maybe it shouldn't be destroyed completely or something.
Yeah, but I think they tend to embrace it too much. They're
right.
basically modern day hedonists.
That's what I was thinking. Like, is this some sort of soft hedonism or something?
No, it's basically just hard hedonism, because they even go harder. And I still think that's worthy of criticism and detraction. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I do think life's bigger than your own pleasure.
Right.
So, yeah.
Get fucked with that, too. With that.
But, should we shift from politics to culture?
We kind of did shift a little bit to culture.
So, not shift at all?
Oh, so what do you want to talk about, dude?
Well,
what have you watched recently?
The meme wars, dude. Let's talk meme wars, okay? We've got a lot of there's a lot of hate right now for a lot of shows, okay? Our cultural products are just not cutting it these days. And I think that is a sign of House of the Dragons. I don't know what the popularity of that show really signifies, but the fact that people want to, because Game of Thrones is it's basically softcore porn that normies can watch.
Right.
It's
basically softcore porn with elongated plot.
It's like for people who want to watch true crime documentaries, but that's too trashy for them. So they'll watch that same sort of sex and violence stuff, but it's got to be in a prestigious, Emmy-nominated, Emmy-winning package of, oh, this is highborn. This is a metaphorical allegory for our time. And, oh, yes, the incest actually represents the hedonic, pleasure-seeking ways of the elite class. And, you know what I mean? It's like it's got that sheen to it, so you can watch it and still feel like you're not watching, like, the Dahmer movie.
Right.
But it's the same. It's scratching the same
thing.
itch. But for people who don't want to admit that they have that itch,
I have that itch. I watch a bunch, dude. The stuff I watch, man, is complete garbage.
You like true crime?
No.
Do you watch any, like, violent stuff?
Yeah, I watch violent stuff.
I watch Primal. That's pretty bloody, but it's cartoon violence. But they try to portray it realistically.
I feel like that show has...
It's not over the top.
I feel like that show has more of an artistic edge than Game of Thrones probably does.
But yeah, even on the violence specifically, like it's gruesome, but it's not they're not trying to be like super realistic about it. Like you know, they'll like the dinosaur will chop a body in half.
They're trying their best to portray nature as objectively as possible.
They're trying to give you an accurate feeling,
right,
of like the viciousness of animals, like the natural world. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like how vicious you have to be to survive in that kind of an environment.
Which never
even the fact that there's dinosaurs existing with humans, which never would have happened, but it kind of heightens the savagery of the world.
I thought some dinosaurs did exist with Neanderthal. Not the giant ones.
I don't know about maybe so, because I'm sure there were species that.
Well, they definitely had to contend with giant mammalians,
woolly mammoths and saber-tooth tigers. Yeah,
giant sloths. They
bigger
were
sloths,
huge.
probably bigger alligators.
Oh yeah.
Probably bigger reptiles and whatnot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But that would be sick. There was like maybe like little velociraptors with or something like that. It would have to be those then. It would have to be the ones that the ones that are almost birds.
Yeah. Velociraptors aren't that big anyway. They're like small dogs.
Yeah, they're like chicken size.
They're a little bigger than chickens. They're like turkeys.
But pterodactyls aren't actually birds, right?
They're not actually dinosaurs.
Dude, I was watching this video and I never realized it, but like all of the flying, like most of the flying animals, like the winged animals, they evolved their hands into wings, right?
I think so.
Like bats, you can see that they have like 5 fingers.
They have digits, yeah.
And birds, you know, they don't have hands at all, so their wings must have evolved from some kind of limb, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not insects.
They just have them on top of their.
They have them on top of their appendages.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have like legs or hands or like some equivalent appendage, and they evolved just straight up wings.
Yeah, it's pretty sick actually.
Which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Yeah, like the idea that
like a dedicated body part for flight, as opposed to transforming your already pre-existing
right, some other thing evolving into a wing, you know,
or a fin.
Or a fin. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
You know,
but yeah, those like the fin and the tail probably would have been some kind of a limb.
Do you think it's bullshit that whales and dolphins are classified as mammals?
No, they have lungs. They need to breathe air.
Do they have
They don't
hair?
have gills. They don't have gills.
Do they have any sort of hair? Do you have to have hair to be a mammal?
I don't think so. But the rules are arbitrary. The names are arbitrary. We just came up with them. Like the fact, like mammals give birth to live young.
That's not even true because platypuses aren't they mammals?
The platypus is a weird weird category.
Even then that breaks down.
But yes, because the platypus is like a leftover from so long ago when like mammals and amphibians were more closer related to each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's like the evolutionary tree where they branch out, but if you go back far enough, like two of those species merged back into one.
They were almost into like mammals basically come from reptiles.
Right, because reptiles are older and older genes than mammalian code or whatever.
Right.
And I think reptiles evolved from amphibians.
And they evolved from fish.
Right, so you're getting back closer to...
And they evolved from single-cell organisms.
Yeah. So it eventually all goes back to like the same root.
It's...
which is pretty sick. But I don't know how we got off on that. But really quick...
Primal. We're talking about Primal. What were we talking about?
Primal is the best show. It just ended. Everybody go watch fucking Primal.
I'm rewatching it.
It's not everyone's cup of tea.
I don't see how it wouldn't be. How would it not be?
Like not all adults are into animation. Like some people can't
get that out of your fucking everybody. Everybody who sees animation as different, it's just a medium.
I mean
it's not a category.
But there is a certain normie out there that kind of has a mental block towards like there's different levels because like, there's adults that will watch like Pixar movies and they're like, oh yeah, I like Pixar movies, or or I take my kids to go see Pixar movies and they're fun and I laugh too sometimes,
Yeah.
or whatever. And it's like, okay, so they'll watch 3D animation.
Right.
And maybe they'll watch a 3D animated kids show or something with their kids or something.
Right.
But then when it comes to like 2D anime, that's like, okay, that's super kid shit. And they're not going to watch like Justice League, animated Justice League movie because it's 2D animation and it just.
Oh, we can still talk, right? We just won't be able to hear. We can still.
Yeah,
it's still recording.
It's still recording.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, where you won't get like 2D. They just don't watch 2D shit. But this is clearly an adult show. It's rated R.
Oh yeah.
Like it's very much rated R.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there is a level of maturity to it where I feel like there's maybe not hard themes, but there's like kind of an ethos and a message to it that's subtle, but I feel like it's there. And maybe I'm just reading into it.
No,
but there's something about like the struggle for survival and like the circle of life kind of, and the sort of suffering and joy of life kind of being intermixed.
Do you remember that
with each
episode
other.
where they killed that weak mammoth?
Yes.
That episode stuck with me pretty hard. It was a pretty good one. I mean, mainly because of just the setting, the snowy setting, and having to fucking split apart this mammoth for warmth and having to huddle in the cave. And then they get tracked down by that fucking tribe of mammoths.
Yes. And see, I always forget about that because I always remember the end where they have the funeral.
Yeah, basically.
And that's what always stuck with me, where it's like, that's part of Spear kind of realizing that he recognizes the emotion of the animals, and it's sort of him starting to connect like himself with the prey.
Well, it's almost like him starting to recognize himself.
And did you see that episode?
Which one?
Where he sees the cave, where he goes to see the cave paintings? Yes. And he has this realization
that he's a human.
That he's a human. Yeah, that he's a human like these other humans that he's.
Well, maybe not even
encountered.
just a human, but just like a creature capable of wanting to record experiences or able to experience, you know?
Yes.
And
self-reflect.
Right. Just becoming self-aware and in turn aware of your fellow living creatures.
I feel like that's the metaphor for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Where it's like, at some point the cavemen realized that they were living like the other animals, but they didn't have to. And that's sort of the knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah, kind of.
You see what I'm saying? Where it's like, I'm not just one of these. I don't have to be as brutal as the world around me. You know what I mean?
Right. I can make it better. We can be
better. I can minimize the suffering of my prey. You know, I don't have to eat it alive like a crocodile would do. You know what I mean? Like that kind of.
Crocodiles don't give a fuck.
But you have to recognize that.
But they don't have fucks to begin with, so it doesn't really matter.
But in order to get there, you have to recognize that the animals are experiencing something too. That like you are.
Are there any other shows that go this deep? Like She-Hulk or Andor?
Okay, so let's talk about the big three. She-Hulk, which didn't crack the top 10 of the Nielsen's ratings. So very low viewership. You got Andor, which is the latest Star Wars product.
Okay.
On the line.
All right.
At the Star Wars cafeteria. Get you a nice
Is it
scoop
better?
full
Is
of
it
Andor.
better than Obi-Wan?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow, that's crazy.
I would say. And then you've got Rings of Power, which Amazon has stopped releasing their numbers on. So I'm assuming that the ratings have dropped. But then you've got Game of Thrones, which is doing consistently good.
I guess they just have fans.
They have a built-in fan base from the previous season. You know what I mean? So I know everyone says they hate it, but people are fickle. They'll go right back.
But then season 2 will drop, and then it'll drop from there, and then season 3 will probably be then they will probably just cancel it.
Well, people are saying it's good. People are liking it, so I don't know. Now, there is a commonality between She-Hulk, Andor, and Rings of Power.
Okay.
And
what about Game of Thrones?
It's a common criticism. Oh, I'm not watching it, so I don't know. But
Okay.
but from what I've heard, it doesn't have this problem.
Okay.
Where all 3 shows feel like such wheel-spinning storylines to just like get it to meet some quota of episodes. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's just making it for the sake of making it, basically?
And, well, it makes the pace of all 3 of these shows feel so slow and boring. Now, I will say for Andor, it does feel like they do have, like, an actual, like, story that they're trying to tell, and, like the season is leading somewhere. You know what I mean? But the first 3 episodes really felt like that could have all been, like, one episode or possibly a longer than 20-minute episode of just, like, one. You know what I mean?
So do you feel like they're intentionally drip-feeding content or story?
Yes, because people have lower expectations for shows than movies. It's just a fact.
I don't.
You do.
I really don't.
But in terms of pacing, you do.
Dude,
because you know,
I don't watch very many shows.
You know Breaking Bad's going to be 12 episodes, so they can
Something is always happening though.
But see, the reason why Breaking Bad is so good, why it works in Breaking Bad, where you can have basically like one thing happen each episode, you know,
okay,
is because they're so good at bringing you into the character's like emotional state.
That's true.
And so even though the character just has to live with the consequences or live with the stress of, you know, whatever the emotion is of because of whatever happened last episode, right? And even though they're just kind of stewing in that for most of the episode, they do such a good job of making you feel that emotion that the character is experiencing, whether it's stress, whether it's fear, whether it's, you know, he's going to get caught, whether he's hiding, whether he feels shame. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing about that.
They bring you into those
I feel
characters.
like they give you enough story to make you want more of it. And I feel like these streaming shows give you very little story, and the only reason you watch for the second episode is because you're like, okay, can I get more of an actual story? Because I feel like I got half a story, as opposed to 2 entire stories in an episode of Breaking Bad, and now I want that story expanded upon. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I will say Andor episode 4 is probably the best episode, better than the first 3.
Is it worth watching?
Dude, honestly, you could skip to episode 3 and just watch 3 and 4. Because the first 2 episodes are such, like, so little happens in them. And I mean, there is setup, okay? And it gives you some more context.
Do you feel like you could skip a single episode of Breaking Bad? I feel like you're going to say... Really?
You got to watch the Fly episode.
Really?
Here's the thing about Breaking Bad. Vince Gilligan purposefully is trying to make crime seem boring, tedious, stressful, and not worth it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And so the pace of the show fits the storytelling.
It does.
Because he wants you to live in he wants you to, like, really feel that lead up to the crime and all the stress. He wants you to feel the shame of Walter having to hide all of the shit from his family and stuff, and him not really being present with his family. He wants you to sit there and live in that, and that's what the show's really about. You
I
know
was
what
thinking
I mean?
about that.
It's more about the life of a criminal rather than the crime of it. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, rather than the crime itself.
It's about the consequences to your life. And he shows that in different aspects with all the different, like, he shows you Gus's personal life. You see the old Mike's personal life and the things that he has to sacrifice to be a criminal. You see Jesse and the toll that it takes on him.
Well,
and
also,
so that's
not only
the point
that,
of the show.
but
so,
everybody else, like, who surrounds them, who are substantially better off for not having to do this. Like,
right.
Badger and Skinny Pete, dude, they're just chilling, bro. playing video games. As soon as one of their friends died, like, all right, I'm out of this shit. I'm not a part of this anymore. Because they're actually smarter.
Yeah, no, he contrasts every once in a while. He throws in this kind of normie character where you think like, oh, they're such a soy pussy, whatever, you know. But they're the ones that
actually have a decent head on their fucking shoulders,
right?
Like, there was this episode where, what was it? Fuck, because I just watched the entire series and El Camino, which I look at with new eyes and think it's good. It's a solid 8.5 out of 10. El Camino's a great movie.
El Camino's fantastic. I fucking love it.
I understand the criticisms. I understand why people might not like it so much. I understand that it wasn't even really needed.
Why don't people like it?
They don't like the pacing. They felt like the story was ended with Breaking Bad. Understandable.
I thought it was a fucking fantastic epilogue. It did feel like 2 or 3 episodes of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, they could have. I mean, if they just called it a Breaking Bad special, that's how I saw it, like a Breaking Bad special.
Yeah,
like Breaking Bad El Camino. But even as a movie, I still feel like it's completely warranted in its existence. Like it's actually pretty well paced, in my opinion. It kind of feels like an indie movie where the story is but not in a bad way, because it looks fantastic. It looks way better than any indie movie I've ever seen, or any fucking.
But the scale and scope of it's all like houses and street corners and
right. It feels like that movie Blue Ruin almost a little bit.
Did you see it?
You showed it to me, right?
Yeah,
that indie movie.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
It was like that, like in terms of scale.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's what I knew what you meant. Like where it's a very low. It's kind of low key in terms of like the scale,
the action, and what's happening.
Yeah.
But
the emotional stakes are huge, though. If you've seen all of Breaking Bad, the emotional stakes are fucking massive.
One of the best scenes in that movie is the when he goes to the candy warehouse, the welding warehouse to get his money from the guys. I don't know if you remember this.
The guy who's clean shaven and
right, yeah, he had the beard. He goes, he's like, look, dude, I just want $1,800. I'll get out your hair. And he's like, oh, you really? He's like, why not make it even 2,000, dude? Why not just be a round number? And it's kind of a cool character moment. It's like, dude, Jesse doesn't want to be here. He just wants $1,800 so he can leave the fucking state. And he's like, all right, you know what? You're a little 22 against my 45. We'll do it he's like, what, like a Western? He's like, yeah, like a Western. And it's shot like a Western.
It's so sick, man. And that's the climax of the movie. Like, that's the action climax, is a literal fucking standoff.
It's like a noir Western movie.
Yeah, he blends that perfectly. Because, like, yeah, it's like he's on the run and it feels kind of noir. Like, oh, the cops are after him. But then it kind of
He's an outlaw. He's an outlaw.
But it's a Western, yeah, because it's like, oh, I'm a wanted man and the sheriffs are after me, you know?
Yeah.
It's a manhunt.
Oh, and then you cut back to...
They want to fucking hang me.
They cut back to Fat Todd, which I don't really give a shit about.
It's funny.
It's funny, but I don't really...
Yeah.
It's jarring initially, but then I'm like, oh, you know what? Whatever. Just whatever.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
It was jarring initially, I admit, the first time I saw it. But the second time I watched it, I was like, I remember that he was fat and...
I just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, and then also you see a little bit more of Todd in...
his flashback sequences.
Oh no, the car scene where he puts the maid, he brings him to his apartment, that is from the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. God damn, that movie's fucking awesome, dude.
Rewatch it.
Because
I just finished.
He's hiding out in Todd's apartment.
Yeah.
You know, remember that?
Oh God. Yeah, and those two fucking fake ass cops come in, and then the minute he brings out the zip ties, I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I forgot. I was like, oh yeah, these guys aren't even cops.
Yeah, that's so good.
I was like, what the fuck?
That movie fucking rocks, man.
It's a good movie because I just finished rewatching Breaking Bad, and to your point, what you were saying about, you know, having to suffer these characters' consequences along with them. Season 5 doesn't work if season 1 through 4 aren't what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I understand people have their problems with season 5. It's not as explosive. But finally being able to see the consequences of Walt's actions and him being able to admit that, this was all for me. And I basically destroyed what I was trying to save. in the
by
pursuit
trying
of
to save it.
Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I love it. It's a great season. It's a great series ender. And El Camino is a great extension off of that. And I think I'm now ready for Better Call Saul season 6.
It's a great epilogue because I think if Breaking Bad had ended with Jesse being the like riding off into the sunset and smiling, you know, it would. I feel like it would kind of taint the ending of Breaking Bad that they were trying to say.
Oh yeah, everybody loses. Everybody loses.
Right.
Because of Walt.
And then you need that movie. You need to see, you know, Jesse still's got to deal with the consequences of his actions before he can get that ride off into the sunset. You know, you have to see him struggle for that.
Yeah, his story's not quite over yet.
Yeah. Because it would just be too easy if Walt breaks him out and then he rides off into the sunset. And I fucking love those shots at the end where, like, all of Breaking Bad and El Camino is just like a desert, like a waterless desert. And, like, when Jesse finally drives off, it's the snow. And it's like kind of...
Like a rebirth, because, I mean, snow signifies death. So, like, the old Jesse's dying, is dead.
I sort of interpret it as he's done a 180 and he's going a different direction now. And now he's out of the desert and now he's in this new land that's covered with water.
Right, a 180 from the old Jesse. Kind of
like ice is water, and now he's going into that's, you know.
Well, even like when they show the flashbacks of old Jesse, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot he was like this. Just like a fucking punk, almost naive little, like a kid.
Yeah, short-sighted and kind of just looking out.
But just kind of enjoying the
lifestyle,
the relatively smallness of life, you know, because he's just like eating fruit and as much of it as he wants, and he tells the waiter, "Hey, you know, leave the whole pitcher here, dude. I'll pay you the money for it." Like he has no bigger plans. He just wants to enjoy life, live it in the moment, and just chill.
Oh yeah, when they're at that diner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
That was a great movie. But anyway.
Oh, but now back to the good shows.
Andor. So episode 4, they finally get into, like, they bring the protagonist into the rebellion a little bit, and they show you a little bit more of what's going on behind the scenes. So you kind of see what's going on with the Empire.
Like, they haven't done that a billion times before already.
So there's a literal boardroom scene. It almost feels like Dune or something, where it's like there's like all these administrators who are high ups. They're high up administrators, but then they're being led by this main administrator guy who's like, "Oh, your sector needs more security and this and blah blah blah, and we need this and that." And it's like kind of this minutia of they're trying to show you like how the Empire is actually run at like a day-to-day level.
Oh, it's like
where it's like this series of different middle managers.
It's like Madrigal, dude.
It's kind of like that, where there's like
they're so far removed from any sort of violence and life-threatening situation, but it's all just boiled down into like simple decision makings in a boardroom kind of deal.
Yes, and so they're one of them is the one female imperial executor or whatever is like thinks that you know, some of these thefts might be rebellion activity, you know, and shit, and she wants to look into it, but the Empire is kind of, you see there's like this theme of like, oh, the Empire is always just trying to smooth things over, keep things running, you know what I mean? Like no one's trying to make waves, you know, everyone's that's kind of the ethos of all these middle managers, just kind of maintain a smooth exterior, like everything's running smoothly and stuff.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like that angle on it. It's not it's not like super interesting or anything or super unique. It is unique for Star Wars, I guess, to see it.
Wouldn't it be kind of cool to see like a planet that was stricken in poverty, but after the Empire rose, they become slightly better off?
That would be cool. Yeah, maybe if because of where they're positioned, it's going to be like a big trade route, and so the Empire invests a bunch of infrastructure into it, you know?
Right.
And yeah, and then it becomes like a thriving metropolis or something, or like a place for commerce and shit.
Right. Maybe.
And a lot of people are better off, and they like the Empire.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Because so far they've only shown like the planet that the Andor is from everyone pretty much hates the Empire there. And it's not even run directly by the Empire. It's run by a corporate security firm.
Oh, okay.
And so that's who he has to kind of fight to get off the planet. And then now, you know, he's got a new mentor who's already... He's not part of the rebellion, like capital R rebellion, but he's doing shit to fuck with the Empire.
Oh, okay. So he's like
he has designs of some kind. You don't know why or what his full goals are, but he's trying to set things up to fuck with the Empire, you know.
Oh,
and it's
okay.
implied that he's like got a couple different operations going for stealing from them or sabotaging and that kind of shit, you know. And then Maud Mothma's in there, and they have to meet in secret with Andor's mentor to kind of she's like the money, and she's like funding. It's the guy. It's Selvig from the MCU.
Who the fuck is
from
that?
the Thor movies? The old white guy.
Oh, okay.
That guy. He disguises himself as a seller of like rare historical artifacts, but Maud Mothma comes in there and she's like, they have to like go into the back room and pretend they're looking at.
So is it like a spy thriller?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's interesting, I guess. It's new for
But
Star Wars.
you could start with episode 3 and then just go from there. But honestly, I'm making it sound interesting, and like the parts that I'm telling you about are interesting. But
is that what
that's about where it goes. Like that's about it, you know. And they want Andor to do some sort of be a part of some sort of heist team.
Why is his name Andor? I just keep thinking Endor.
His name's Cassian Andor.
But why Andor?
I don't know. And
it sounds like Endor.
It's a star. That's a race. There's a planet in Star Trek called Andor as well, and they're called the Andorians.
That's stupid.
But they're blue and they have blue antennas.
These people are completely.
But again, that show, She-Hulk, a lot of the Disney Plus shows, they feel like movie ideas that they're just stretching into shows.
Like Obi-Wan.
It's almost like, oh, this was going to be a movie, but we're going to put all the deleted scenes in, and then cut it into 6 pieces, 6 20-minute episodes.
How do you feel about She-Hulk? Where's that show going?
Man, it really lost me. I mean, I'm caught up, but it's not good anymore.
How do you do this to yourself?
They're 20 minutes, and I have this other coworker that watches them too, so we shit on them together.
Do you think She-Hulk should be integrated into the bigger MCU?
I just don't know how. Like,
do you think that's the big mistakes of these shows? Is like Moon Knight. Do you think he should be integrated into the MCU, or could?
I mean, you could because whenever, like in the Avengers movie, sometimes the characters are a little bit different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think like you could, if you just kind of
rewrote them,
kind of just like a soft kind of made some soft changes to him. You know what I mean? Where he can't be as crazy and like multiple personality disorder as he is in the show. If he's going to show up in an Avengers movie.
What about She-Hulk?
She-Hulk, I mean, you could write her in. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
She could just be Captain Marvel, basically.
She's basically like Professor Hulk. I mean, she could function in that role.
It's just so boring.
But yeah, it is pretty boring because like she doesn't have like a super distinct personality other than the fact that like she doesn't believe in herself or something. I don't know what they're going for with her character.
Dude, she's a lawyer. She could use her lawyer powers.
I guess. I mean, they teased Daredevil. He's coming eventually.
Who cares?
Yeah, and I just don't know what they're doing.
I'm more excited for Deadpool 3 than I am for anything Marvel has coming out right now. And that's
honestly,
saying a lot.
Yeah.
That's saying because I don't really give a fuck about Deadpool, to be quite honest.
Yeah, after the second one, I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, it's whatever.
I get it.
It's whatever. Yeah. But Hugh Jackman coming back, I hope they use him good. But
I hope he has the suit.
People were confused about like whether this meant Hugh Jackman's gonna be Wolverine in the MCU or something.
No, he's not.
No, they're gonna recast him for sure eventually.
He's done.
This will just be some multiverse BS for this one movie.
Oh yeah, he'll have a cameo in the MCU.
Maybe he has a cameo in like Secret Wars or something. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I'm glad they out and said that they're not going to shit on Logan. I'm like, all right, cool, I guess, but
that means multiverse, right?
Yeah, but well, I mean, it could be before Logan.
Oh, right, because canonically, Days of Future Past takes place in like 2023 or 2024 or something, and Logan takes place in like 2030.
2029,
so,
yeah.
Or okay, yeah. So there is some years there that you could.
But does the canon even really matter in the X-Men universe?
No,
not really, right? Because Logan was basically, for all intents and purposes,
it's
just
a multiverse.
It's
like
a self-contained movie,
universe movie almost, yeah. Where they bring in as much of the history of the X-Men movies as they want to.
Right.
You know, yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, do you want the suit, dude?
That would be really cool if they could work that in. Yeah.
You don't think they could? I mean, Deadpool's suit works really well.
Yeah, no, and it would be way easier because like you need like it's such a like the tone of those movies like could just be it's just be like
what does the color scheme have to be for you?
It's just like classic Wolverine has like some yellow in it.
It's got a lot of yellow in it.
A lot of yellow, yeah. But I mean, you know how they do it where it's like, oh, we're gonna have a yellow strip and then it's gonna fade into black at the bottom.
I kind of want them to go a little. I want some yellow on the head. I want it to be yellow and black, but like a dark yellow, like a mustard yellow.
Well,
like a muted yellow.
Yeah, and so, like some 90s versions, he has like kind of an orange and black costume.
And then he has like a tan one, kind of. Almost tan. It's like a dark orange.
Yeah, which that makes more sense for like camo, because then that's believable. Like, oh, it's orange with black stripes.
Now,
it's
what
like
about
camo.
The color isn't an issue to me. It's the fucking long gloves with the no sleeves. Dude, I'm sorry, dude. Long gloves and no sleeve just looks really homosexual.
Yeah, it does with the hairy arms and like, yeah. I mean, well, with blue rubber gloves and like it just looks like fucking.
Now, do you think they should do full arms, or maybe at some point like they break? Like
we could have a long sleeve, yeah, and then the
maybe
gloves
they tear
go over it.
Maybe they tear. Maybe the sleeves tear at some point in the movie, and he's got basically like the comic.
Maybe his shirt tears and he just rips it. He cuts it off, and the sleeves come off with it. You know.
Yeah. Ooh.
And he's shirtless.
Underneath like yeah.
You know. More animal Wolverine.
But my main concern.
Do you want to see that or you don't?
Look.
The gloves with the sleeveless arms.
Look, this is what I want. Small horns. Okay, not the big ones.
You need that little, yeah.
But he has to have like a little Batman kind of look to it. Like where it's kind of like, it's a little protruding from the side.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to have some yellow. Sleeves. But it's got to have like that
deep V.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I'm not so sure if CGI eyes or not, the white lenses. I kind of just want to see how it looks, to be honest.
That would be cool, yeah, because they already do it for Deadpool, so
I figure
that works out.
Maybe the white. I don't know. I'm curious.
I like that look for sure on Deadpool and Spider-Man and stuff. So
because I feel like without the lenses, it'll look too much like Batman.
Right.
And I don't want the eyeliner and stuff. I think just do the lenses, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. What do you think of that? You think that's a cool costume design?
I think that would look really cool.
But the problem with the lens, the reason the lenses works on Deadpool is because you can't see his mouth. You know what I mean? So all the expression is done through they have to do the lenses.
Right.
But you can see his mouth, so there's the live action and then the lenses on top. So
the eye movements would have to be a little bit more subtle to match the facial expressions that he's making, you know?
Exactly. So what do you think?
Maybe just tone that down a little bit.
You think it could work?
I think most likely it'll probably be maskless most of the time. They may even bring in the X1 suits.
Those are so fucking boring.
They are really boring.
They're so boring.
But I guess they just didn't want to explain why everyone has a different colored costumes and uniform. And I think it does make them look more like a team.
Yeah, but in the OG ones, they had like the yellow. They all had yellow and black and blue. All of them. Even Beast did. Beast wasn't always blue. Beast just looked like a caveman. It's at one point with like a yellow and blue costume.
Oh, that's right. They did have the yellow and blue. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but I mean, that was like the most earliest of iterations of the characters, so they were basically like the Fantastic Four but mutants.
And then, with a lot of the X-Men, they just kind of wear their clothes, like Jubilee and Gambit and
right.
Maybe Jean Grey. I can't remember, but it's kind of like, well, no, Jean Grey has that yellow and green bodysuit.
Right.
At some points. That's kind of the most famous version that I remember.
Right. Even in the movies, they started just wearing their normal clothes. Well, at least Wolverine does.
I would love to see fucking Cyclops with the blue and yellow, with the yellow strap, fucking X-Men logo
with on the blue
on the patch, blue bodysuit.
With the boots.
Yellow boots.
Just Captain Americanize it, basically.
Yeah, just make it a military uniform.
Right.
Of some fake country.
Sure.
And he finds it and puts it on.
Look, I just think, no excuses. Give us more classic suits on screen, dude. I don't care.
I think it's time.
Well, it's like if the suits are too flamboyant, make the story a bit flamboyant. Make the universe a little flamboyant.
Yeah, make it work.
Yeah. I mean, fucking Zack Snyder did it.
That's true. He proved it was possible. Watchmen looks fucking great.
Well, I mean, the comedian's costume is pretty much... Well, he has like 2 costumes, actually, I think. Because he has like a gimp mask in the comic.
I heard that... so we also got...
Ozymandias, too, has a kind of different... But he's got like the...
You know who's got good costumes? The Rings of Power.
Are they good, dude?
They're pretty good. The costumes are pretty good. I like all the robes. I like a lot of the armor. There's this island nation of men where like their armor looks like fish scales, like leather scales.
Oh, like Aquaman, kind of?
Yes, but there's different colors. Like the seamen, they wear like white. Like the Navy, basically, they have white scales. The leaders have like this brownish gold scales. This guy who's not from Numenor, they give him like this super dark brown, almost black scale armor because he's not he's not a military rank. You know what I mean? So they give him like this other armor, and it looks very cool. Galadriel and the elves all have like this more medieval looking, like kind of a straight body. Like the breastplate is kind of like one big breastplate, kind of like medieval, and it's kind of pointy. You know, their armor looks pretty sick. Probably the least functional. The Numenorians, they have the leather scale armor. Their shit looks fucking sick, and it looks like you could move around in it.
How's the story in that show? Is it good?
So again, it's very slowly paced because they don't have a template or a guide to go off of. Like they've got big plot points from the old books, right? The prequel books. But none of those books have any like scenes in them. There's no like character dialogue where it's like, all right, then they went over here and this guy talked to this guy, but this guy didn't want to do what the other guy wanted. Because
they're basically having to write the Kessel Run.
They're right. So every scene, every moment between characters, and a lot of the character motivation is largely made up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so but they're not doing a lot. So in Game of Thrones, I heard a review where they were talking about both, and they were like, Game of Thrones is on the same episode. They're on episode 5 or 6 as well, but like everyone is gearing up for war, and you know what's going. You know where the season is headed. And Rings of Power, like the last episode, episode 6, just barely, like, the story is now finally actually getting going.
Isn't it just like
and the main conflict has actually started now in episode 6.
Oh god,
halfway through.
That's kind of trash.
Yeah, but it was pretty good though. They finally, like, it's like humans versus orcs. They're having like, they had a bunch of small skirmishes in this episode, and Sauron kind of tools them. Oh, and then and Sauron sort of fakes out Galadriel and the other humans, and he does a fake out where they think that he stole this knife this sword that's a key to Mordor, which is like where the evil guy lives, and he sort of does this fake out where they capture him, but he had another guy who actually had the real sword, take it to the gate, and like at the very end, like you think they won and they're all celebrating, but then Sauron's henchman puts the sword into the door and opens up the gates of Mordor, and like this giant fucking volcano explodes, and you see that basically like the Southlands, which they thought they had just retaken over, it's about to become Mordor, which is where have you seen Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
You know where the evil eye guy, the evil
Sauron?
eye, where he lives?
Yeah.
Like that land? Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't all darkness when the show started.
It used to be a different place.
It was called the Southlands, and you see it in the show.
Right.
And there's a bunch of villages. It's a village it's an area where men live. It's a kingdom of men.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of villages around this area, and Galadriel thinks that they've reclaimed the Southlands, right? And put the real king back in charge.
Right.
And as they're celebrating, the gates of Mordor opens up and the volcano starts spewing ash, and the whole thing gets covered in darkness.
So do you think we could have gotten to that faster, you think?
Yeah, it should have been the end of the last episode.
Really?
It should have been that, because like there's 10 episodes, so it should have been the end of episode 5, where because you like in the middle of a movie, that's where you have the character usually have a big defeat.
So do you feel like these shows are like intentional filler?
It's intentional wheel spinning, yeah, because they just don't have enough story. They're not organically TV shows. They're taking ideas, whatever ideas they can find or IPs, and then forcing them into the TV show mold, because that's where the audiences are at right now, and that's where they think the money and attention is at.
How about you just start making good fucking movies again? Make people go see your movie.
Well, I don't know if studios think that maybe theater. It's just less. I think the hit rate on movies is even lower than shows.
Well, make it.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case, but from a studio perspective,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
It might be less risky.
My perspective is, well, then fix it. Make people realize that they have to go to the theater again. Give them a reason. They're not just going to go just to see your shitty movie. What the fuck is this? Don't cover for them.
How do we get people back in the theaters?
Just make good shit again.
Yeah. I mean, but did you see The Woman King?
No, I have no interest in that. I mean, I've only heard about it because people were bitching about it, but before that, like, I never even heard of it. So, like, at this point, I'm like, I don't really...
Did you see Top Gun?
No, I haven't seen Top Gun yet.
See, even the best movie of the year, it's not even good enough to get us to go see it.
It made $1 billion, so someone wanted to see it.
That's true. But see, that people said, oh, this is like a real old school movie, you know? And it's the highest grossing movie of the year.
I'm just saying, don't overcorrect and everybody start trying to do this.
Well, no, I'm saying that Top Gun is kind of evidence for your point that you're making.
Right, but
it's like, if you make good shit that's like really has creative energy behind it and a vision.
Well, didn't they actually film a lot of the flight scenes?
Yes, all the scenes of them like experiencing the G-force, it's real. Like the face sag and stuff, all of that is real. Like the actors are really getting 10 G's of force or whatever.
So, I mean, the way I see it, we're almost like in this creative bankrupt state again, like we were 10 years ago. And we need
10 years ago, at least the MCU was popping off, where it's like, oh, at least somebody can remix another medium into movies and make that exciting.
But that idea was novel at the time. We've lost all sense of novelty.
Right. People feel like there's no new terrain, but it's like, guys,
bitch.
It's a blank canvas. Yeah. Try something that people aren't asking for but if you think it's good, then maybe there is an audience for it.
Or maybe if you want to see more return on investment, maybe don't spend so much money on stupid shit.
Well, you never know. I mean,
I don't give a fuck, dude. Look, if you gave me $10 million right now, you're like, all right, I want to make 30 to 40 million on this. I'm like, okay, easy.
Horror movie.
Nah, maybe not even a horror movie. Maybe like a El Camino type movie, like a city western.
Okay, we make it like a thriller, but we can kind of market it as horror so that maybe we get some horror fans crossing over, you know?
Dude, I have no regard for what anybody wants. I'm like, look, you give me $10 million and you want to make 30 million, I will try to make the best thing I can make. And if it's good, it'll make money. I guarantee it. And if you motherfuckers on your end have to advertise it.
Well, you know that good movies flop sometimes too.
Yeah, but
so it's not a perfect recipe.
How many of them are just fucking gorging the pockets of actors and producers? You know, the budget is just being soaked up by.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Talent can be like close to 50% of your budget.
So I'm like, all right, we'll get one guy who acted in the 80s. That's our talent.
Right.
And then we'll get some indie guys.
Get some character actors, yeah.
And
get some TV show actors.
We'll get Mickey Rourke. We'll get Mel Gibson, one of those guys.
Yeah.
Maybe he won't be the star, but he'll be like a supporting role.
Yeah, get some character actors that maybe people will recognize in some supporting roles. Maybe some TV show actors if we can find some.
Well, like the guy who played Lalo Salamanca was he was on the what was he on? What are they called?
Days of Our Lives?
Yeah, like shows like that.
Yeah, daytime soap operas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a big pull out there, guys.
I think Shamar Moore used to be a soap opera, a daytime soap actor.
What does he do? What did he do?
He's in like Criminal Minds and stuff.
Oh, really?
He's the bald, or he's not bald, but he's a black guy.
So you're saying with $3 million, you couldn't make a movie that was good?
No, any budget movie could be good, but good movies don't always make money.
But you don't think? But what I'm saying is, you don't think you can make a movie that people
that would get
resonate
audiences interested? Yeah, I think, yeah, but there's got to be some angle to it, like some hook. If you want audiences to come see it, if you don't want it to make $4 million, you want it to make $40 million.
I think you could do it
on a $3 million budget.
I think it's possible.
I mean, I think Get Out was like $5 or $10 million.
I think you could do it.
And some of that was probably actors and stuff.
What if like
but $10 million you can definitely.
What if it's like 10-minute standing ovation at the Canadian Film Festival, TIFF,
Toronto, yeah,
Toronto, and they're like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. And then like critics rave about it. This is one of the best movies ever made. YouTubers start. Maybe we even personally ask people to review it. Like, hey, look, good or bad.
Well, we do a YouTube tour where we talk to a bunch of YouTubers. Do interviews.
Yeah.
Where we're like, oh yeah, we really wanted to. Our process is like this or whatever. You know what I mean?
I'm like, I'll be like, they're like, oh, yeah, I didn't really like that. I'm like, look, David Dobrik. What do you do? What do you do? You just you get Lamborghinis, you rent them, you get some hot bitches that you meet, and you have fun. Yeah, that's your idea of fun. This is my idea of fun. Go fuck yourself.
Oh, could we get a Lambo?
Yeah.
It couldn't be an action movie for 10
Dude,
million,
would you just love to tell someone to go fuck themselves? Like, is there like a couple of people in your head you're like, dude, I just want to tell this person to go fucking jump off a bridge?
Yeah. Sometimes.
I'm just projecting my own insecurities on other people, but
But what kind of movie would you make for 10 million that you think could make 40 million?
Like I had
Oh, did you have an idea, or were you just saying in general?
I'm just saying in general, but I think it's possible. I'd probably make an animated movie. But that wouldn't make any money. Animation doesn't make any money. That sucks, man.
Animation?
Yeah, that'll make. Dude, Spider-Verse didn't make.
Kids movies. I know, man. Because kids movies, I guess it's got to look like a Disney movie.
I could do it.
They are generally more successful.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like their hit rate on, those Roger Rabbit or Peter Rabbit and those kind of things. Those actually are more profitable than live action movies.
Yeah.
They cost $100 million to make a 3D animated movie, but
I wouldn't make 3D animated.
Well, 2D animated, I don't know if people are coming out to the theaters to see that, but that would be so sick if you could make one for 10 million.
What
like
if
an anime.
What if you just make one that looks so fucking cool?
That would be yes.
I think you get people to see it.
You could get more recognizable talent too, for the voice actors. Because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Voice acting is way cheaper.
I'd get Freddie Prinze Jr.
I'd want Michael Ironside to play the villain.
Oh man,
he has the best villain voice.
Do you know a lot of prominent voice actors that you would want to put in a movie?
Like Nolan North, May, the Avatar voice actors.
Oh, what's her name?
Mae Whitman or something?
Gray Delisle. She's really great.
Yeah. Maybe some of the DC animated. Tara Strong.
Well,
she's great. She's like that Batgirl and stuff.
Gray Delisle voices like all the bad bitches. Gray.
Oh.
Azula. You've heard her voice in everything.
Yeah. She has that cartoony evilness to her. It's
yeah,
like,
but
I'm a bad guy, and I just like doing evil.
Daphne Blake, you know, she voices all the bad bitches.
Yeah.
And I love it. IRL, I think I would bang her too.
Really? I don't know what she looks like.
She looks like a MILF. I think she's got MILF energy. 7 out of 10.
Tara Strong too.
Yeah.
I've seen her. She's got big MILF energy.
Oh yeah, big titties.
And big MILF titties too. Hell yeah.
If you were to okay, so what do you think you look for in voice acting?
Just like range and like, you know, it's more about good casting, you know, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, where it's like.
Do you think you could do some voice work? You know,
I don't know. I don't think my voice is that distinct.
Maybe it doesn't have to be. Jonathan Banks does voice acting too. You know this? Mike Trout.
Yeah, I heard he was in a DC animated movie that I watched.
He was Jim Gordon at one point. I think it's like
really.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
He actually is pretty good. I want to see more shit from him. I want to see him do more voice work. You know, this is pretty good. Like apparently, like Freddie Prinze Jr. He does like a lot of voice work in like the Star Wars shows.
Yeah, he actually is a pretty good voice actor.
I heard like I think that's how he makes his money now.
Yeah,
that's actually kind of sick.
I actually would get Reese Witherspoon.
She's got a pretty good voice too. Wasn't she in a couple of movies?
Yeah,
cartoon movies.
I believe so. Yeah,
Sing I think is one of them.
I didn't know Mary Jane Kirsten Dunst had done voice acting when she was a kid.
Yeah.
She's in
a couple of cartoons, I think.
One of the Japanese guy, Spirited Away.
Yeah, I think. Well,
not Spirited Away,
I know what you mean.
Kiki's Big Adventure, Kiki's
the Ghibli
delivery
movies.
service. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and I didn't even recognize her because she must have been like a teenager, like pretty young.
Oh, she was like an actress when she was like fucking 11.
Right.
I completely forgot that she had an. She probably might have been more prominent as a kid than as an adult, than I'm thinking about it. No, I think, well, it's probably 50-50.
Well, the Spider-Man movies really put her on top.
Well, like Lady Antoinette and some other bullshit, Bring It On, and...
yeah.
How do I know all
she
these?
She still does, like...
indie movies?
Like, more artistic shit, you know?
I think she's a decent actress.
No, I think she's good, yeah. She actually is good. It sort of got a little out of her range in the Spider-Man 3 a little bit, but...
but I mean, she got older, and you know, she can't keep playing the, the teenage fox anymore. But I mean, I would see her
just like the character was like crying all the time and stuff, and I don't know if it was the performance or the writing, honestly.
I mean, there's really not much for her to do out after Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, I
think she served a role. That's why they separated them again, because they're like, right. Oh shit, what do we do with her now?
Exactly.
Yeah,
maybe just make her a nice supporting character, like a Kim Wexler in season 2 and 3.
I don't know why they didn't want to make her like his sidekick, kind of like maybe like.
That's what they end up doing with her in like the new games now. They make her like a reporter instead of an actress. I mean, that's
right.
I think that's a cop out.
Well, it gets harder to incorporate her into the story when she's not doing something that's.
Maybe just make her a slice of life character. I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's totally okay. I mean.
Yeah, I feel like you could make her like an actress or a model or something, but you got to have like the villain. So you got to incorporate her into the narrative somehow.
Well, maybe like she's meeting with a producer and he knows Vulture or something, and they end up kind of getting entangled a bit, maybe.
Right.
But that's more. I mean, that's a little more interesting, and that happens more organically, I feel.
Yeah, somehow through happenstance, her job intermingles with the narrative.
Right, but it just feels more natural for that character. You know what I mean? Being an actress, talking to a producer who knows a fucking billionaire psychopath.
Every love interest becomes Lois Lane eventually.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like there's Lois Lane for that.
That's what I'm saying. It is lazy. It's lazy because it's like, how can we have we need a character who's not a superhero, but is somehow near crime and disasters and stuff. And it's like, okay, could they be a cop? No, that's too Batman. That's too Jim Gordon. Okay, reporter then. Let's make them Lois Lane.
Make them a journalist.
And that's why they're investigating crime too. They're basically just a detective, and it's basically just Jim Gordon.
Dude, I would love to do a movie where it's like a journalist who gets kind of in on some sort of really fucked up information, and maybe there's like hitmen after him or her. Yeah. Could be a her. That'd be more interesting, actually.
Yes, but her dad was a cop.
I don't know.
So she knows how to use a gun.
No. Maybe she doesn't even at all.
But her dad was a cop. That's why she carries a taser with her and pepper spray.
No. I think it's just one of those, like, I think it'd be cooler if you play it like it's just like one of those.
She's a total lib.
She's a total lib.
She works for HuffPo.
Well, I just want this person to be as far away from any sort of real happenstance as possible.
Right.
And the movie is just like, about her journey. Like, this is the real world, kiddo.
Now, do you try and make it like realistically modern, or do you kind of make it more like its own universe modern?
Its own universe modern, I think.
Okay, yeah. So they're not talking about like Pepe's and MAGA and shit all the time.
No, definitely not.
Okay, yeah. I kind of like that better. Where it's kind of a fictional 2022.
Right.
Where, maybe she is.
Well, I would want to make it like a noir movie in Houston. Maybe she's like getting a little too close on a DA who's funded by Soros or some shit.
Yeah, I want it to start out really small and crack into this giant chasm of like fucking evil. You know what I mean? Where like by the end, it keeps getting peeled back where it's like bigger and bigger in scope, I
just want it to be like a journalist Better Call Saul, basically. Or you're
a journalist El Camino.
Yeah, where they're like slowly just kind of
maybe at first she doesn't even know why people are trying to kill her.
Maybe she doesn't even know people are trying to kill her.
Well, then, what are we watching her do?
Well, at some point she figures it out, but I just think maybe in the beginning it looks like accidents, like maybe like a car crashes into her or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's like first she thinks it's like Final Destination or some shit.
I don't know. Maybe
that would be kind of cool.
It'd be interesting, but the world's not ready for that. We have to start small.
Yeah, no, I have idea. I've thought of the conspiracy theory movie before.
Right? Isn't that kind of fun?
Where it's like some character learned something they shouldn't, and now is in this game of cat and mouse with you don't know who, but powerful people.
I kind of want it to be like almost like a silent film at times. Like I want it to be like an old 20s noir movie kind of. Not really, but where it's just like a bunch of like I don't know, like some really long shots of like the city landscape, and you're just kind of getting deeper and deeper into the slums of the Houston underbelly. I don't know. It's got to be in Houston though, but everybody's wearing jackets for some reason.
It's got to be winter in Houston.
Yeah,
it's super cold.
Cold enough.
It's the dead of winter. Maybe it's a Christmas movie.
Ooh,
or like maybe Thanksgiving just ended, and it sort of ends around Christmas time.
I could call it Black Friday.
Oh yeah,
Black Friday, rated R,
in theaters.
Streaming only on Amazon Prime.
Streaming only on Hulu. They'll buy anything.
Netflix. Oh, I saw a little bit of the reboot of The Munsters on Netflix. Number 10 trending.
Pretty sick, huh?
One of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Is it as bad as the trailers made it look?
It's worse.
Does it really look like a home movie?
Yeah. That's not even what bothers me. It's just so... Would it kill Rob Zombie to make a character remotely likable? Would it kill him?
Yeah.
Would it kill him to just make someone remotely interesting and fun to be around? Does everybody just have to be a piece of shit or just not portrayed in anything remotely decent? I understand. I get it, dude. You like the white trash aesthetic, dude. You like that everybody's an asshole, the James Gunn kind of deal. They're kind of the same director in my opinion. I'm over it, dude. I'm over it.
Mm-hmm. The sort of Trailer Park Boys type.
But even some of the Trailer Park Boys are kind of likable.
Yeah, they're still endearing at times.
Yeah, I love Bubbles, dude. His little kitties and his carts and his he's a funny character.
What was that show with William H. Macy where like he lives in a trailer and all his family stuff?
Shameless.
Shameless, yeah.
I haven't seen that though.
I hear that's good, but so you can do it good, but it's played out right now.
Yeah, it's just whatever, dude.
You gotta have a good angle on that.
I stopped after like 3 minutes, dude. I was just so annoyed.
Yikes!
I was annoyed. I was annoyed, dude.
3 minutes, eh?
It's hard for movies to annoy me, but dude, I was fucking annoyed watching this movie. I was like, I'm. If this is what this is, I want no part of it. And then I watched. I felt the same way watching Little Demon, dude. That show annoyed the fuck out of me too. It's starting. Shows are starting to. Things are starting to annoy me.
What does that mean?
It's just like,
You're getting fed up with the culture.
Yeah, dude. Honestly,
it's got nothing for us. I mean, it's just empty calories.
God, if Vince Gilligan wasn't fucking saving the world, I don't know what.
Apparently, he's got a new show that's not a crime show.
Yeah, with Reese Seahorn.
With Rhea Seehorn.
I'm in.
Dude,
I'm gonna get Apple.
Let's Rhea see those titties, eh?
Better Rim Kim.
Better Rim Kim, yeah. Better Slim Thick Vic.
Gotta skeet on Kim's feet. Have you seen those memes, dude? Where it's like a YouTube, it's like all the Breaking Bad characters, like it's like it'll be like Kim feet convention canceled, and it'll be like Walt going why and like falling and doing like and then it'll be like and then it'll be like Saul like fucking yelling, doing like the lightning bolt from my fingertips.
Wasn't it Saul that had the foot fetish?
Yeah, but it's really Vince Gilligan who has the foot fetish.
He does?
Yeah. Yes. Dude, I've just rewatched everything. Everything but El Camino has prominent feet in it. Vince,
I don't remember a lot
Vince, you're not fooling anybody, Vince. Vince, you're not fooling anybody.
I don't remember a lot of Rhea Seehorn feet.
You're not paying attention.
Maybe not. I usually notice these things because I have a foot fetish.
Dude, I wouldn't even say my foot fetish is even a fetish. I wouldn't even say I have a foot fetish per se. But you know what? I notice it when directors plump fucking stompers in the foreground, dude.
Yeah, but see, I don't get off on like shoes really.
You're not a shoe guy, like Bob Odenkirk was.
Like, yeah,
he followed the heels page. He was trying to remove himself a step away from straight feet. I understand what he was doing. Mm-hmm. He's not fooling anybody either. And you know what? It's not a big fucking deal. And Bob, if you like it, you like it. It's okay.
Now, no, I get the heels thing where it's like, okay, yeah, they do look good in heels. But
he likes the arches, I guess.
Yes, that does look good. But some guys are like, oh, I want to smell those shoes. I want to come inside.
Like Quentin Tarantino?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a bit of a sick fuck too.
Whereas that, I don't really have that side of it, which I feel like that's kind of a separate... That's kind of a more advanced.
That's a
kink.
That's the perverted level.
Yeah. Like, I didn't even understand what it was for a long time. I'm just like, oh, I wish they'd cut to a wide in this porn so I could see the feet. I just want to see them. You know what I mean? But all like the shoes and the tickle my balls with your feet and stuff.
The stomping.
I get it from a visual standpoint, but you know that probably doesn't feel that good. It's more of like a mental, psychological.
Are you the stomping?
Fetish.
Are you a stomper kind of guy? You want to get stomped on?
No. See, that's the thing. Like I don't.
You don't want.
Maybe I'll get there.
You think you're not a big mommy milker, stomp on me please kind of guy?
I mean, I do want to kind of do it to see what it's like, but I'm not imagining that, like, I'm not instantly like diamonds, like just thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like I would
Right.
try it, obviously.
I'm at the point with sex where I could just take it or leave it at this point.
Yeah.
I'm at this point where like I was on a date with this chick and it was going really well, but then she just annoyed the fuck out of me. Like she was so insecure about herself. No, I don't even care about that. Her politics are, every woman's politics are the same. They're a dime a dozen. I've just learned to accept it and just keep my mouth shut. But what was she talking about? Oh, she's like, so where do you live? I was like, oh, I live with my brother in our apartment. And she's like, oh, you don't have your own place? And I was like, no, I'm just kind of saving money a little bit, but I don't live with my parents or anything. She was like, oh, well, I just got a house. I was like, oh, cool. Well, you bought a house? She's like, oh, I'm renting it. I was like, I did that too. And then she was like, yeah, and I got this brand new car. And I was like, oh, really? What kind of car did you get? She's like, I got a Volkswagen. I'm like, in my head, like, all right. And I was like, oh, what kind? She's like, oh, a Passat. And we went inside, and I was like, oh, it has 100,000 miles in it. I didn't say that out loud, but I was like, whatever.
It's not a new car.
I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, I get it. You feel the need to portray yourself as bigger than you
trying
really.
To flex on you for?
Because I have an Avalon and have an apartment with my brother. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like what are you, some big man on campus?
I'm not. I'm just like,
you take it down a peg.
I'm like, dude, I feel like I always come across as extremely humble.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not impressed by these sorts of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe intimidated to some degree, but as a person, like, do I think you're necessarily better than?
Like, oh, that's a cool guy because he's got a fucking Tesla.
Yeah, like I'm like cool, I guess.
Yeah.
I was always like really affirming too. I was like, oh, that's really cool, dude. Like, I'm proud of you that you got to do that. Like, that's really sick, dude. Like, better for you.
She could tell you were patronizing her.
I wasn't though. I was like, that's pretty sick, dude. I'm like, yeah, Volkswagens are pretty cute. Like, they're cute. Like, they're cool, cute white women cars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever. But then she said something that really bugged me. Oh, sorry, are we going over?
We're getting close to 2 hours.
All right, I'm gonna end it right here. And I was just like, you know what? I don't think this is gonna work out. She's like, are you leaving? And I was like, yeah. Have a good night. She was like, I was totally willing to fuck you. I was like, yeah, I know. And I walked away.
Damn, dude. Volcel, eh?
Do you have to put up with it?
I mean, no. I mean,
like,
yeah, sometimes the vibes are just fucked.
Like, are you willing to?
And like,
are
you
you
still
willing
want
to
be around that kind of energy, I guess.
Well, do you like, are you willing to sell a bit of yourself just to get laid? Like, I'm not at all, really.
Right, because you're essentially lying to yourself.
I'm like,
or to them that like you are attracted to them when like really you're like annoyed by them.
Right.
So there's like dishonesty in there. So yeah.
So I'm just like,
that's what you're trying to avoid. That's what you're avoiding by getting out of there.
Right. It just didn't seem worth my time. I'm like, oh, and then like what? We start doing it more and more, and then one of us catches feelings, but I don't see myself doing that.
Look, a lot of men will be dishonest to get the puss, but you're better off. It's more honest to just go home and jack off. If you're not feeling the vibes, because sometimes the vibes are fucked, and you've got to get the hell out of there.
Look,
otherwise it'll be hell on earth.
Hell is a real place.
And
there won't be enough water to wash away all the blood.
There won't be. Up yours, woke moralists.
What do you have anything to say to the people out there?
No, thanks for listening, guys. And just remember that
you don't have anything to plug. We're working on.
Oh, we've got to get off now so that we can write the show. We're going to finish episode 2, probably start on episode 3. And the show's coming together. We're still at least probably 6 months away from production starting. But pre-production is going great. We're still remixing design, character designs, background designs, art designs. But that is in full swing. So I feel like after today's sesh, we will have not solidified, but a more solid idea of the look of the show. But then, of course, that will all change again once we start the digital animation process. And the digital illustration and animation, all those things will probably get retooled at least a bit again. So it's a process, guys. You've got to basically be willing to experiment and then toss your experiments, or just learn a few things from those experiments, and then just take the lesson with you into the future and drop the actual stuff. So trial and error.
When it
We're
drops,
scientists.
we're expecting all 3 viewers to promote it and share
Yes.
it, so we could, because we're working really hard on this.
All 3 viewers. You need to have at least one person watch it on another, or steal your mom's phone, watch it on her account, so that we can get that extra view. So I want to have at least first day 1, at least 6 views.
Okay.
Now, but we are thinking about, I don't know, trying to gain some sort of following elsewhere that we can try and funnel into the show. I don't know. We've got a lot of ideas on that front too.
So let me ask you this. So let's say we drop one, 10 views. Do we keep going?
Well, yeah, we can't stop.
So you're in it no matter what, right?
Well, yeah, because, I mean, by the time we put one episode out, we'll have sunk in so much time into it that I won't want to start another thing, like a new thing, and scrap everything. You know what I mean?
Right. So this is the 10-year plan. This is what we're sticking with?
At least 2 years.
All right, I'm with that. Okay, and we do this all for free?
And I think potentially we could put more work into the pod and actually try and get like a following from there. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah, I'll do some artwork for the pod today.
Because the pod would be the best place to actually get an audience that would be on board to watch it. You know what I mean? Like if we had 10,000 subscribers on the podcast channel, I feel like a lot of those people would be interested in the show. You know what I mean? Whereas like, oh, we have a viral TikTok clip, we still could get views off of that, but it'll be more transient viewers because they're
watching TikTok. They're not watching
TikToks,
they're not
right.
watching shows.
Right. And so, but if they listen to us for like a 10-minute clip, you know what I mean? And they subscribe based on that, then okay,
they're more loyal.
They're more, yeah. Then okay, they are actually interested in whatever we're talking about
or what we want to do,
and potentially our creative
endeavors
will align with their creative interests.
Okay. Well, we're just gonna try to make the best thing we can possible. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
That's all we can really do at the end of the day.
But maybe some structure to the pod. That way, it's easier to clip out, and then we have like these distinctive clips that we already know that we're gonna clip out afterwards. And then then I could like be posting those like daily, where it's like, okay, we need to have 5 clips, at least 5 clips that we know of per pod, right? And then every day a new 10-minute at least video is going up, right? And
can
then
we do
maybe
premieres?
we get some traction off of that.
Can we do like where we upload at a certain time, like automatically?
You have to have already uploaded the video. The premiere just publishes it.
No, I'm saying like, let's say like you upload a video to YouTube today. It's one of our cartoons.
Yeah.
But you specifically put it to where it has to upload at
like midnight or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do that?
Yeah.
It's not even like a premiere. It's just like you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you can just do like a time delayed publishing of it.
Right. That's what I want to do.
If you do the premiere though, your subscribers get notified like, hey, this person's going to drop this something.
Can we do that?
In 10 hours. I think so, yeah. I think there is an option in the upload screen to be like publish now or set premiere now, or then there's another box you can click where it's like a premiere later.
I want to do it like on Saturday at 11 o'clock.
PM?
No, in the morning.
Do you want the pod to be uploaded?
No, the cartoon to be uploaded at Saturday at 11.
Oh, Saturday morning cartoons?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
It'd be kind of cool if we did like a 80s, like we're like hosts of a show. We're like all right, everybody, we have a brand new episode of this new cartoon. And then we're like on a set or something.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe like the cartoons come out like, what do you have to say about the show? And like the cartoon comes out on live action. And it's like, I just want to say it's about love, friendship, and avoiding getting anally raped. We're like, all right, kids, get strapped in for this exciting new episode.
Fetchers.
Of Fetchers. And they'll show like a little intro.
Dude, okay, you know what the logo should be? It should be like a dog.
Like a
The
dog?
Fetchers logo for the company.
Like a little puppy?
Yeah, like with like a
boner in its
package in
mouth?
its mouth or something.
Oh, I like that.
It's like they're fetching you your products or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Your order is being fetched.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great,
Fetching
actually.
your order now.
Oh, yeah, the show's called Fetchers now.
Oh, yeah, it's called Fetchers. It's going to be
Wait,
sick.
can you say what it's about, actually?
It's about
This could be its own clip. All right, I'm calling it out. Clip now.
Okay, Fetchers. Okay, the show we're working on, guys, is called Fetchers. It's an animated, 2D animated show. It's going to premiere on YouTube. It's a millennial animated comedy. It's about 3 roommates that all work for a Amazon Uber delivery type style service called Fetchers.
But not just food.
But it's not just food. They deliver anything and everything and will do basically anything for money. And it's a thinly veiled, like, Amazon delivery driver, Uber driver type situation.
There will be situations where we're working for the cartel, delivering drugs, or
and
delivering
every episode
children
we
to
get
the
into wacky hijinks.
Right.
Sometimes based on our fetching jobs, sometimes not.
Right. Yeah. I even have a list of non-canon episodes that are just wacky adventures where we get superpowers.
Right. Sometimes
I think we even call it. I think we even put in parentheses non-canon episode.
Well, every episode is technically in its own alternate universe, where
it's like South Park, where we can
if
be
we want
summoning
to reference
the dead.
something that happened in the previous episode, we will. If we need something to not have happened in the last episode, it won't have happened for these characters in this episode.
Right. And what is the goal? You just want to spread the lulz, right?
It's a comedy, yeah. Yeah, we're trying to capture the millennial angst of the modern world that's experienced via millennials, I would say.
Are we going to be COVID deniers or election deniers?
We'll have all those viewpoints will be represented. It'll be very diverse, very woke show.
It is going to be pretty woke. It's going to be starring 2 people of color and a trans man.
We've got 2 main characters that are ethnic minorities. We've got different income levels represented. We've got so it's going to be very BLM will probably get an endorsement from them.
I hope so.
It's going to be anti-cop, anti-military.
It actually will.
Anti-government. It's going to be an anarchist show. The anarchists we'll have to get them on board. Post it to some anarchist message boards. But yeah, it's look, it's going to be a long road to get to there, but we're very excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you think it's funny.
And if you know any female voice actresses who are interested, for free, let us know.
Hey, I have a coworker that might do it.
Does she have a good voice?
Yes. And she has a Hispanic accent, and I think it would be perfect to be like some Houston Chola.
Oh, because I was thinking I want a Mexican grandma for episode 2. So that could be pretty sick.
Yeah, I don't know if she can do any voices, but...
Just tell her to sound like an old grandma.
But I could potentially bring the recording equipment to work and, like...
Have her do some lines?
Yeah.
That works perfectly fine. That works great. But anybody who knows any voice guys, we don't expect it. You know what? And this is just it's just a shot in the wind here.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be great to work with some people to do some voice work. Cause
yeah, I want to hire some Fiverr actors too for some bit parts.
Yeah,
you know,
like a cameo. Could we do that?
Yes, anybody that's not going to be a recurring character. Or maybe is not going to show up in like a lot of episodes.
Can we get
because then every time we want them, we have to pay them.
Can we get Hank Schrader?
Is he on Fiverr?
He's on Cameo.
Oh, Cameo, yeah.
Sussy Baca.
Just be like, hey Hank, we need you to say these lines.
Oh, we can get Steve Downs for a radio guy. Like maybe we're on the radio or something.
He's on Fiverr.
Yeah, and he was actually a DJ. He was on Cameo.
I've heard him DJ. Yeah, he is.
He's got a really good voice.
The Master Chief is putting on a bit of a voice for it.
Slightly, yeah. Actually, yeah.
Like he doesn't sound exactly like that, like when he's doing radio.
I mean, he's got a deep voice, but the way he talks is not like that at all.
Yeah. He has like intonation and
he sounds like a human
he
being.
sounds like a person. Yeah.
Oh man, I would love to get Keith David like I want Keith David to be like a James Gordon kind of character, like a police commissioner.
Oh yeah, that would be sick. All right, honestly, we're probably not gonna get any of these guys, but hey, at least you know the vision, though.
Oh yeah. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
All right, peace, everybody.